Hey, this is Wayne Bilal. I'm going to show you the perfect monthly growth tool, what I use with my consulting clients. Look, business is amazingly difficult. If it wasn't, more than 0.5% of businesses that start would grow to be over $1 million. More of them would be, much more than 50% would die in the first year, and 80% of them are gone by year 5. All right, and the ones that survive, another 75% are gone by year 10. That's because it's difficult, but really, at the end of the day, business is really very, very simple. It's three components: make the money, and it would be nice if my mouse actually moved. There we go. Keep the money, all right? And the third thing is, whoa, hello, went right by it, improving your operating systems, okay? So it really isn't that tricky. I mean, business isn't that hard. But getting time to do these things is. See, what happens with most business owners is they get caught up in the day-to-day grind of having to get enough sales, to get enough money to pay all their bills, to buy their product, to pay their employees, to keep the lights on, pay their rent, and then pay their taxes, and hope that they made enough money. I always joke that business is a matter of bringing in bunch of money with your left hand and paying out a bunch of money with your right hand and hoping that a few pennies end up sticking with you. It just does, and that's unfortunately sometimes in this economy, not even, some of us aren't even getting a few pennies. We're having to go to the bank, borrow from Peter to pay Paul, borrow from the bank, borrow from friends, relatives, or even just shut down the business. It's really kind of sad because really the successful businesses know that what they do is they make slow, steady improvements to their business. Every single month they're improving their business. So when I'm working with my clients on consulting, I'm asking them to commit to spending 4 hours a week for 50 weeks a year. I'm a real nice guy. I'll give you 2 weeks off. Plus the math works better. If you do 4 times 50, you've spent 200 hours improving your business on these areas, making the money, keeping the money, and improving your system so you can go home sometime, so you're not working 18-hour days. All right. So this is important so that you're working yourself, so you're separating yourself from your competitors. So you're becoming the dominant player in your niche. Like I wrote in last month in one of the articles, it's coming straight down to is that really because of social media and because of the people having more trouble with money, really the top one or two people are businesses in every niche are going to have 80 to 85% of the customers and of the business, and they're going to make 80, 85, 90% of the wealth, and that's the way it should be. The business owners that are the most innovative, the hardest working, and that work at creating value in their business rather than just having a business should be rewarded. All right, and it really isn't that tricky. Imagine if you did this for a year. Have your competitors spent 200 hours improving their systems, improving their marketing, and improving and keeping more money? Have your competitors after 5 years spent 1,000 hours? Think about that. And really what it comes down to is every business owner knows what they need to do. But let's look at this sheet. Let's get a feel for what's in here. All right, I said I make the money, but I break that down into a few components. First, increasing sales to current customers. I put 5 blocks there. Have at least 2, 3. I'd love you to see you do 5, 10 different ways to increase sales to current customers. All right, don't forget who's going to do this. Make sure you put in there, who are you assigning this to? Who's responsible? If you write down, I want to make 3 presentations to current customers to sell them on a product that they're not using. Which products? Which customers? Who's going to do it? When are they going to do it? What's the deadline? Because we're talking about this month. And you're going to sit down next month and you're going to pull this sheet out and you're going to see if you did what you said you were going to do. Because if you didn't, look, if you don't like the business you have right now, work on improving it. But if you didn't do the work, stop complaining. It's really pretty simple. All right. So put down how you're going to increase sales to current customers. Put down how you're going to increase sales to new customers. What are you going to do? You're going to just sit there and wait for them to come out? Are you going to go, you're going to pick up the phone and make 10 phone calls to people? Are you going to identify 100 of the best customers that if you had them as customers, they would change your life? Are you gonna buy an ad? Are you gonna do direct mail? Or excuse me, I've been fighting a cold. What are you gonna do? How are you gonna do this? All right, and then finally, improve your marketing, sales and marketing systems. A system is nothing more than a way we do things here. Write it down. Do you have a system for answering the phone? And everybody, they don't understand. Answering the phone is your first contact with your company. That's a marketing position. Does everybody that answers the phone know how to answer the phone? If not, what in the hell are they doing answering the phone? All right. So you need to sit down and talk about improving sales in your marketing systems. But that's just one. How about, if you're running a restaurant or a retail store, how do you greet the customer? That's kind of important. There's a great book out there if you haven't read it by the E-Myth Revisited. All right, look it up. You can find it. It's a classic, of course, but it talks about the importance of having marketing systems. All right. Now, once you've made the money in this month, I've given you, okay, you got three things you've put there. How you're going to get current customers to buy more. Remember, these are the people that know you, like you, and trust you, so they should be the easiest customer you're ever going to sell to. You're going to go out and get new customers because you need new customers. Let's face it, you can do everything right and still lose customers, okay? And then you're going to do systems so that everybody's maximizing their contacts, all right? Well, now you got to keep the money, all right? And let's be honest, in every business, product cost and employee cost are probably 75, 80, 90% even I've seen of the cost expenses of a business, all right? So, start there. These are your biggest items. This is where you should concentrate on. If you're selling a product, even if you're retail or wholesale, or even a restaurant, you're selling a product. Look at your product cost. It amazes the heck out of me when I walk into a restaurant and ask them, "Hey, you're selling that plate for $7. What's your cost in that?" And they don't have a clue. What's your? I talk to an attorney. What's your cost in that case that you just won? And you don't know. How can you make money? How can you control cost if you don't even know what your costs are to start with? All right. But look at your product cost, look at your employee costs and your product cost. Is there ways for you to buy, in bulk? Is there a buyer's group you can be part of because the big guys can, they can buy in bulk. You can't, but maybe there's a buyer's group out there that you can become part of. Maybe if you sell washing machines and dishwashers and refrigerators, yeah, you can't compete with the Lowe's and, the Best Buys and the people that buy them by the boatload. But maybe you can get together with a bunch of other people that are in your area, and you can create your own buyers group if there isn't one there to bring in stuff cheaper and get a better price. Maybe you can change suppliers. Who knows? Maybe you can get a cut from your vendor. Maybe they can help you with a special this month. All right. Maybe you don't. You just need to see which products you have the biggest margin on and try to work on those more instead of pushing the products that don't. Employee cost. Well, that's pretty simple. Control overtime. Put your systems in place so that you don't have as much overtime. Look at getting away with getting more work done with less people. Make sure you're scheduling them at the right time. There's so many things that it's beyond the scope of this article, so we're not going to get there, but take a look and figure out what you can do. Maybe you can outsource. That's a big thing. Maybe you don't need an employee. Check Odesk or Elance or Fiverr, any of those places, and see if you can outsource something. You'd be amazed at what you can get, and it'd be cheaper. And heck, you don't have to manage the employee on top of that. And finally, don't forget all the other costs you have. Yeah, they may be 15, 20, 30%, but they're still a cost. Remember, if you have a product that you sell for $1 and it costs you 50 cents or even 70 cents, all right, if let's say it's an 80 cents after cost and people, all right, so to every dollar you sell, you cut, you would have to sell something for $5 because you're on a 20% margin. All right. So don't forget to look at these. And at least once a year, you should do a zero-based budget, which basically says get rid of everything. Don't assume everything. Don't do the government. The government says I spent $1,000 last year. I need 1,005 this year, or 1,010, or $1,100. We're not doing that. Okay. You literally say, is there a way to eliminate this cost? And if there is, eliminate the darn thing. All right. Reducing your income taxes is another big major item, and we're heading up to the time. It's September, early September right now. I know this is an August issue, but we're always we seem to be chasing ourselves, and we'll get out there early pretty soon. But anyways, we're coming up to tax planning time, and tax planning. I'm a CPA. Okay, I've been doing taxes for 35 plus years, and I can tell you the businesses that I do tax planning with easily save 3 to 5 or 10 times what they pay me to do it. It's the one thing that I guarantee because I know I can. Why? Because our tax system is so crazy and so invasive into every single thing you do in business that there's no way you can do what I do. And because I've been doing it for so long, or any other CPA that's been doing it for a long time, or tax professional that's been doing it for a long time. You get with them and you plan, because remember, the time to cut your taxes is before the end of the year. I'm doing extensions right now. I can't cut their taxes. I got a few things I can do, but not very many. Most of them are, heck, I'm dealing with 2012. It's history, folks. We don't write fiction. We write fact. We write nonfiction. We can't change it. We got a few things we can do. We can take a Section 179 deduction instead of writing an asset over 7 years. But we don't have a lot of arrows left in our quiver. All right. And before year end, it's like Cinderella at the ball. Okay. Once the clock hits midnight on December 31st, 95% of what I can do to help you cut your taxes is gone. So look at it, because this is easy money. This is money in the bank. It's one of the few things in business that's guaranteed. All right. The last thing then is improving your operating systems. Look, I'll give you an example. Many CPAs, we do between 600 to 700 returns. I don't know how many, but there. For the longest time, I was stuck around 250 to 300 returns because I did it the way every other CPA did it. I basically met with the client in advance, interviewed them about their situation, did the return, reviewed the return, then made an appointment with the client, sat down with the client, and went over the return. So, of course, there was a very limited amount of time I could use to spend on it. So what we did is I sat down one year and I wrote down a system that said, from the time they walk in to the time they leave, everything works without me. All right. So the secretary, now I'm involved, don't get me wrong, but I've cut down how much I'm involved. I used to interview the person. Now the secretary or the person that at the front desk, a very strong person. It's not just somebody answering the phone. Basically interviews them and says, hey, is this, do you have any major changes? And I put together a list of 6 to 10 questions that she asks that, kind of gives them a clue they probably need to talk to me. And you know what? Clients know they need to talk to you. So we also keep them informed with emails and things that we send them. We do a lot to inform them. All right. Then they automatically assign it. All right, and I used to change that a little bit. I basically just put a sticker on it. They stick it in, they assign it, they log it in so we know where the return is. They give it to the right person. It's automated who's going to take what and the way we did it, because everything's written down. Okay, it goes to the review person. It automatically is all written down. It goes, and now here's the key thing. When they pick it up, the review person makes a decision. 85% of the returns excuse me, are the same as last year. So they don't need to see me. I walk in and say, hi, hey, you had a good year? Nothing much, pretty boring. Boring is good. The older I get, the more I like boring, and I walk away. All right, 10 to 15% have one or two items I want to talk to them about. I put a notation that they need to pick it up when I'm there. I walk in, shake their hand, say hi, here, talk about the things that I need. 5 minutes, I'm out. All right. The 1 to 5% have something weird, and they need me. Usually they owe money, and I need to sit down and talk to them. It's become a joke because we've been doing this rally for 5, 6 years now, and some of our clients have picked up on the fact that if Wayne says he needs an appointment with them, that's not good news. Okay, so that's the problem with your system. Your customers will start to learn your system, and then they know how to game it a little bit. But that's no big deal. I mean, it actually helps you, because now what happens is that I'm not talking to 500, 600 people. I may be talking to 100 or 50, and it allows me to do a whole lot more work. We also put together how to put the return together so I don't have to do it. You see what we did? We put a bunch of operating systems together which have literally allowed us to double the amount of work we did and improve the quality, because the other thing an operating system does is it standardizes the work so that everybody's doing pretty much the same thing. Everybody knows how to receive a return. Everybody knows how to sign it in. Everybody knows what to do with it when they get there, that what order I want it in when they turn it into the reviewer. Everybody. So now if it doesn't happen, it's like, hey, go read your system, darn it. I told you what you needed to do. Again, read the E-Myth, but also get, I want to say it was in our November or December book, our November or December magazine, where we talked about systems and an easy way to document. And I mean, if you're not doing systems, there's nothing more you could do to actually improve your business than that. Hey, until next time, this is Wayne Bilal, and let's make this our best year ever. Thank you very much.